Flack? We got a short week here. We got to get right back up, right? Kind of Balboa style. Face this, look at it head on, and get ready for Thursday. So I don't personally have time to go to write the long form blogs, so we're going with the video format this week. At the onset, what can be said except for this is a completely unacceptable loss. That's it. It's unacceptable. Can't have this kind of loss at home. Can't play the kind of game we played. We'll get into it all quickly. We always say if we win, we start with an in. I don't know. We lose, we start with an out. We're not going to pout about it, but we're going to start with an out. So let's get into our first out. As you guys probably know from the millions and millions of fans who follow 3 and 3 Out, exclusively written for the Seahawks podcast. You kind of know we like to dig into those nooks and those crannies and not state the obvious things. However, this first out, you can't ignore it. All right, I saw some folks on Twitter and elsewhere saying, all the blame doesn't go to one Blair Walsh. I just got to disagree. I have to disagree. I know it's the obvious place to go. I know it's that guy's a scapegoat. But you know what? It's not a scapegoat. He blew it. He absolutely blew it. You cannot go 0 for 3 with 3 field goals under 50 yards because it's a cold and kind of a crappy day. All right. Not good conditions. Give us a meatloaf. Give us 2 out of 3. Because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We do 2 out of 3, we win this game. Probably going away because the game will be so much different. 0 for 3 in the first half. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. There are two things the NFL kicker must do for championship teams. 2 things. The first thing is that kicker's got to win you a game or 2 throughout the year. And I would classify that with, 2 or more 50-plus yarders in one game, and you win that game tight. You win that game by 3 or 1 or 6 or 4. Your kicker probably, helped you win that game or pretty much won that game for you. Or, of course, in last-second heroics, you come out and you nail a last-second kick. I don't care if it's 20 yards. I don't care if it's 62 yards. You come out and you nail a last-second kick, guess what? You won the game for the team. That's what kickers got to do. That's number 1. Number 2 is you cannot cost your team a victory. And in this game, Blair Walsh did exactly that. He cost the Seahawks a victory. 6-2 versus 5-3 in this division, brutal. 6-2 versus 5-3 in this conference when you've got other teams, coming out of nowhere playing real good football, like the Saints, for instance, the Eagles, brutal. This is on Walsh. There are many things that led to this loss. But if Blair Walsh just does his job, just gives us a meatloaf, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, we win this game going away. So he's got to own this. The only way to rectify this, the only way, is to be money down the stretch and then be money in the playoffs. Let's see it. A guy who doesn't normally get too much love in a game like this where we lose 17-14 at home to a bad Redskins team, not a good Redskins team that's all banged up. At home, let's put the spotlight on someone who deserves it. Guy comes and plays every single week and does the little things that put us in a position to win, even when we don't. So this week, this first inning goes to Neiko Thorpe. Neiko is the man on special teams. Now, I don't watch enough of the NFL, like every single game, say, okay, well, that guy's all pro and this guy's just a pro bowler. All I know is he is a Pro Bowl special talent on special teams. Whether that's all pro or not, it doesn't really matter, right? But every week, Neiko Thorpe is doing little things on special teams that put us in position to win. This week, early in the game, he gets a partial block punt, which I guess you can't really call a block punt partial. It either is or is not. So he gets a block punt, gets a hand on it, puts us in good field position. We sputter out. We end up punting the ball back to the Skins. And then who's right there? Neiko Thorpe making, just a beautiful tackle on that next punt return. The returner had no business not fair catching that. I don't know what he was thinking. However, doesn't matter. Neiko Thorpe is there just to hammer the guy. Tone setting early, at home, firing up the crowd. These are the types of things that usually help have a building block so that we win these kind of games. We didn't get the win, But that sure as heck is not on Neiko Thorpe. Neiko Thorpe played a real good game. He does this every single week. So in a week where we were weak, W-E-A-K, weak, where we were weak, Neiko Thorpe gets the in. Good job, and just keep doing what you're doing. The flock, the 12s, we really appreciate you as a player. All right, this next one is a point of contention, I think, for a lot of Seahawks fans. A lot of Seahawks fans. It's not a singular thing. It's not, it's not one crucial moment that we're picking out here. It's not even one particular player per se. But as 12s, as little flockers, I think we all got to question, what in the world are we doing with Eddie Lacy? Like, why? Why Eddie Lacy over Thomas Rawls? I think, Lacy hurt his groin, and we'll just see. Hopefully we got a short week. Not rooting for anybody to be physically injured. That's not what we're saying here. What we are saying is that we have two superior backs in Rawls and McKissick. So this out goes to, whether that's Bevel, whether that's Coach Carroll, whether that's Cable, like really wanting Lacy in there for some reason. It's a combination. It's a little combo deal, and like a disgusting kind. Like, you don't want this kind. This is not a McRib with something awesome for like Arby's curly fries. That'd be a lovely little combo. Maybe the Chick-fil-A, spicy Chick-fil-A with some McDonald's fries. I want that, by the way. Somebody get me that app where I could order from different places and then Uber just brings it to me. But I want my combo meals mixed up. This is the exact opposite. Where we want to give Lacy the ball for God knows what reason. He's the third best back on this team right now, with Rawls and McKissick being superior in pretty much every aspect of the game. And number two is this idea that we have to be this run team. Do we? Do we have to be this run team? Do we have to suffer and go through the doldrums and be this predictable, boring offense when we've got P-Rich, when we got Jimmy, when we got elite Doug Baldwin, when we got Lockett? And yet we get stodgy and we get stagnant and we get set in our ways and say, well, we're playing a banged up Redskins team at home and we're going to run the ball, and we're going to keep running the ball, and we're going to give it to Lacy for, again, God knows why. And we're going to stay a run team, and we're not going to evolve whatsoever, even though we have a top 2-3 most dynamic player in the entire league in Russell Carrington Wilson. But we're just going to force feed this thing. We're going to put ourselves into third and longs over and over and over again. It just doesn't make any sense. So it's this disgusting combo meal of this love affair with Lacy, which makes no sense whatsoever, and sticking with something that worked in the past. I get it. I understand football. I understand, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. We all get that. But we have a different team now. We have different abilities now. Why not use it to the best of our abilities on the field? There is no excuses for losing this game. There are reasons we lost this game. Not excuses. Reasons. One of the biggest reasons we lost this game is because we decided to force something in that has not been a fit all year long. And it takes plays out of other playmakers' hands. And you only get so many plays. You only get so many. So this one is on the coaching staff for walking into a game saying it's crappy out, it's rainy, we're home, we're against a banged up team, and we're going to run all over them. Well, guess what? We didn't. And when we tried to, for the whole first half, it was the Eddie Lacy show. Don't get it. It's on the coaches. Big loss. This one's on the coaches. All right, let's bounce over to another end. All right, we all know, at least the Seahawks fans know, and most people who follow the NFL, at least remotely closely, understand how good Bobby Wagner is. We know the man's, like I was questioning earlier, is Neiko Thorpe All-Pro? Pro Bowl? Definitely Pro Bowl in my opinion. All-Pro? I don't know. Bobby Wagner's a different story. This man's an All-Pro. All-Pro. Ridiculous. So a little pivot. This one's not about Bobby Wagner. Everybody else is going to talk about Bobby. The guy's magnificent, and he's put in positions to be magnificent, right? So, and Rashard, I think, actually did a nice job with bringing enough heat this game. Fell apart late, but, I think we did enough defensively to win this game. But I do want to give the in to someone who gets a little less notoriety. Also starts with a notoriety, N-A-Z, Naz Jones, Nazir Jones. As Flocktimus Prime likes to call him, Nazty, N-A-Z-S-T-Y, N-A-Z-T-Y, probably not an S. Probably don't need the Z and the S. It's probably overkill. N-A-Z-T-Y, Nazty. But Naz Jones is a player. We continue to draft really well. Really well. Look at this team. And make some big trades this year. I still think we're in very good position. I think we're a very, very good football team. And we happen to have a crappy day. And we had a crappy plan going into it. And we executed like crap. 3 craps. All bad. All bad. But Naz Jones is real good. He's disruptive up the gut, right? We're going to talk about Jarran Reed a little bit later this week, I think. But Naz Jones is right there with him. When you can cause that kind of up the gut pressure, and then you can pile on top that you got your Michael Bennett's, you've got your Frank the Tanks out there, and now you got your Dwight Freeneys, by the way. Man, Freeney could get it in too, right? But that guttural internal pressure that Reed and Jones are causing, it cannot be understated. All right, we lost this game, but again, not, in my opinion, not on the defense, and certainly not on Naz Jones. The man did an outstanding job. He was in Cousins' grill quite often. He was being disruptive. He was blowing up blockers. Tackles right at the line of scrimmage, tackles for loss. He just did a beautiful job. I got to give a hat tip to Kirk Cousins. Cousins made some ridiculous throws with giant men in his face, and literally in his face, like right in his grill. And Cousins put the ball where it needed to be, a couple more times than we did. So they won the game. But again, let's give Naz Jones, the interior, Jarran Reed, let's give them a big round of applause, because they're playing really good football. And again, I think it's why we're set up for success. We're set up to win and be a very good team this year. Again, disappointing loss, but it's not on Naz Jones. All right, I think we all kind of know that we could fill up the ledger with a lot of outs, a whole lot of outs today. And in fact, inside the Ring of Honor, so the Seahawks podcast Ring of Honor on Facebook, Rebecca Christensen, she had a really smart thing to say when she commented and said, hey, this week you could have a 3 in, 3 outs, like have the whole thing focused on the outs. And she wouldn't be wrong about that, right? So we gotta pick a few. So there's a few where I'm not gonna select, but I think are like honorary mentions in the worst way possible, kind of like that disgusting meal deal we were talking about earlier. But us getting 2 turnovers, I count the safety as a turnover because we get the ball back, right? And then of course the Naz Jones fumble recovery. We got 2 points off of those 2 turnovers. Disgusting. Not even the out, but has to be mentioned. The other piece that has to be mentioned, again, I have to mention this, it's so bad, is the idea that we knew they only had Vernon Davis. We knew they only had Vernon Davis going into this game. Although Doxson ended up with some nice catches, even Pryor had a few nice catches. But Davis was really the only big-time weapon out there. Crowder was out too. And yet we still gave up way too many first half chances, opportunities over the middle for Vernon Davis to catch the ball down the seam. I mean, I understand that's how you beat our style defense, but when that's the only thing that we have to worry about and we still let it up, very disappointing. The one I want to talk about is our punt return penalties. Absolutely destroyed us. There was a couple of times where Lockett either had a good little return or made a nice play, came up, snagged something that others would let bounce. I mentioned last week that I don't think Tyler Lockett should be our kickoff returner anymore. I think that role should probably go to J.D. McKissick, or at least try McKissick. I stand by that. Lockett does not look decisive enough on kickoffs most often, but on punt returns, he's still really, really good. He's still super good. He makes plays. He comes up. He's aggressive enough, and he gets under the ball where others would let it bounce. But we destroyed ourselves where time after time we should have the ball starting at our own 40. Instead, we're at our 32 because of where the foul was infracted. We should be is infracted a word? Infracted? Can you infract? I don't know. We should be starting at like the 50, and boom, another flag down. We're back. We're back at the 38 or something like that because again, where the infraction was infracted, right? All game long. I actually even tweeted out that we should just go all Brian Walters and just fair catch punts. Not on Lockett. Lockett's got the ability, but when we took the ball upfield or tried to, we got infracted. I mean, that cost us so many yards. And in a game that we end up losing by 3 with 2 extra points, let's not go there, how bad we are from the 2-yard line. Dreadfully bad from the 2. Put that aside. That could be a bonus show unto itself. I don't want to talk about that. But in a game like this, with all these missed field goals and everything, we still lose by 3, and we give up these chunks and chunks of yards. We give up precious field position. Shaking my head and just saying, like, above all those other things, above letting the tight end that we know that's the only weapon still beat us, above getting 2 points off of 2 turnovers at home, worse than that are these penalties on punt returns. I realize some might have been ticky-tacky. Totally get that. But we have got to clean that up. And you know what? We mentioned him earlier, and I was thinking, I'm like going through the inside of the ledger. There's not that kind of slim pickings this week on the inside. Kind of slim pickings. I mean, I guess if we're not going to give it to Bobby Wagner because we already said we're not going to. Wagner played a heck of a game. But let's give it to Freeney. Freeney coming in, he's got, let's call it what it is, right? He's played 2 games. He's averaging a sack and a quarter per game. That's all right? You go to White Castle. How do you buy your burgers from White Castle? You get them in a sack. It's nice. 10, sack of 20. How about the fries? One size. It's a sack, right? So Freeney comes in. He's just White Castling all over the place. Just beautiful. I mean, he's juking a spin move. He's spin moving. He's doing what he could do, right? He is a pass rush specialist. He's coming off the edge. Avrill's out. Freeney's in. The man's doing his job. The man is causing havoc back there. Nice part is, too, like when he hones in on the quarterback, he's got some people are just fast. Some people are fast and strong. Some people are fast and strong and have a knack to finish a sack. And again, you could be White Castle. I'm on my 9th burger. Do I want that 10th? Of course, because I got to finish. You got to finish. You got to finish the sack. All right, flock. I had to take a small break from recording. I got business hours, right? I got things to do during the day, but I'm back. And now that my hair, I got a nice, anybody watching Stranger Things 2 out there? I got a nice Paul Reiser going. You want to see a little Paul Reiser? I got it's a little Paul Reiser right there. So, 12 cap that I got from Outer Banks going on for the remainder of it. Maybe I'm like Lincoln Hawk. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like, like a machine, a little over the top style. I'm not sure. I don't know. What I do know is, let me straighten that out, right? What I do know is that we have a very short week. We're going into the desert. We're going into Arizona. I hate Thursday night games. Just everything about them. Disruption to the week, the short week in general, and then if you're going to play Thursday night, playing Thursday night on the road, dreadful. So sometimes I look at games, I expected us to beat the Redskins. Now with the rain, I saw the crappy weather, I knew it was going to be tighter. I expected to win. Thursday nights on the road, I expect us to win, but I put the caveat that I do not care how we win this game. Okay? There's no Mama Cleo. There's no predictions. I got nothing for you on a basis of who's going to do what and how it's going to turn out that way. Don't even care to go there. Very often I like to give you a little Mama Cleo. Look into those crystal balls. Not this time. We just got to get out of there with a W. It's a Thursday night game. We're probably hitting the low point of the season. I hope that was the low. That'd be really cool if that was the low this last week. We got to go into the desert, and it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. We got to get out there with a W. That's it. So, going to the desert, Russell, I don't care. Throw the ball 61 times for all I care. Get out of the desert with a W. Go to 6-3. Let's hope some things happen on Sunday to break our way, and then let's get going with the rest of the year. All right, Flock, it is now my favorite part of the show. This is when we look at what you had to say, the little flockers, right? All the listeners of the Seahawks podcast. I try to compile all the things that were said on Twitter and try to find the things that were said on Facebook. Facebook's actually harder to track down. It's happening in a bunch of different threads, and it doesn't kind of just compile as easy as like following a hashtag on Twitter. But I try to find them all, and I try to put them in the article, right? Because this is from the flock, my favorite section of the entire week. So just scroll. You just, scroll below, right? So if you're reading this in the article, there's some words beneath it. Get to the bottom. There's going to be a From the Flock section, and you're going to see some highlights, lowlights, highlights, perhaps, and everything else from the flock. So go read those. Finally, if you are not listening to the Seahawks podcast, you need to wait a second. Let me channel my best Adam Emmert here. If you're not listening to the Seahawks podcast, you need to do better. I think that was pretty good. I was gonna do it again, but I was like, that was all right.